We're going to move on to the Blue Jays, who apparently are the plurality favorite of or majority favorite of the Roundtable. Blue Jays. I like staring at their roster. Like, that's just how I can put it, is I look at their lineup and go, ooh, and then I look at the rotation and go, not so much the bullpen, but that's classic Blue Jays, classic. I really like what they're doing with their lineup. They have 3 catchers that might be like top 10 catchers in baseball, which seems rude. One of them happens to play a mean center field, which is also rude and possibly illegal. But I just like how their lineup flows. I like how the rotation flows. I'm all in on the old Blue Jays.
I love their winter. I really liked what they did. I mean, I think it was a clear that they were emphasizing getting better at preventing runs, right? And they sacrificed some offense to do that, trading Teoscar Hernandez. They brought in the fella Swanson from the Mariners, supposed to be pretty good. They play way up in the Pacific Northwest, and those games are all pretty late. Varsho is a dude. Varsho, it seems like they're going to play him in left, and Kiermaier is going to play center. Which that seems to be like a very and it'll shift as the days goes along, right? Because they'll have Springer bouncing around and stuff. But Varsho is a great player. That was a classic challenge trade with the D-backs. They gave up a lot to get back a real legit player. We'll see how if like the rotation. Manoah had a great season. Gossman has kind of proven he is a legit sort of number 2, number 3 starter. Bassett is more of a back end guy who I think, has numbers that look kind of number 3-ish, but is probably closer to 4 or 5. Barrios just stunk last year. Kikuchi is stunk. Like, they have incredible stuff, and you could. If this is the theme of the show, if you squint and see like why the Blue Jays win 102 games, it's because those guys, perform the way that their ability suggests is possible. I feel like that is a little uncertain. I don't know. I mean, I'm not exactly sure why I think the Yankees are better, but I just kind of do. And I felt that, and I think the rosters were relatively similar last year. Although, the Blue Jays did get better in certain aspects. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's first time for everything.
Look, the key here, and you already said his name, is Jose Barrios. But God, that is last year was brutal for him. Brutal. All right. Like, just way out of line from what he's done in the past. If that dude's a 3, I think that's, and when he's pitching well, that's sort of where he slots right in there, maybe 2, whatever. Like, that's where he's at. Oh man. Like, this team, that's that 102 win scenario to me, is that Jose Barrios comes out and just pitches like he has most of his major league career. So that's one element of it. I love the trades. Andy hit it, like the run prevention emphasis is a big deal for these guys, and maybe that helps Barrios. I don't know, right? Like maybe that was part of like his regression last year, but I mean, then you watch like the firepower in the lineup, it's scary, and like this is. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is so good that when you look at the narrative of 2022, it's like, man, he was a little bit down, not quite the same, whatever. He's got a 135 WRC plus. 135. And like, we're talking like he was a failure of some kind. So that's the kind of high level sort of talent that exists on this lineup. When we talked about the Rays a couple minutes ago, not having the scary bats, well, the Blue Jays have him. Okay, like it's a big scary dudes that come October you can see changing, a game with one swing. I realize not a great playoff experience for them last year. All right, not great. All right, but like I think this also fits sort of with their progression. This group is sort of like not linear because it never is, but you can see them kind of taking steps. And this, for me, feels like the year they put it together because they got the tools to do it. They had obviously a really specific plan going into the offseason and then executed it really well. They improved in some key areas, got better from the left side. right? Like they got a little bit of help hitting from the left side. So like, and then obviously with the run prevention and Swanson, who you mentioned earlier, and this bullpen, they needed swing and miss. He's a swing and miss guy. All right. Like that's now their bridge to Romano is a little bit stronger. And obviously that's an easy area for them to target to improve as we get closer to the deadline. So when you squint and look for the deficiencies with them, it feels like it's stuff that they can resolve relatively easily, but they've got all the big stuff. They got the big scary bats. Manoah is great, man. Not only is he like, he's fun to watch and like lets it all hang out and all that, also really good at what he does, right? Like just a great pitcher. So I like him a lot. And it's impressive because this division's difficult. The Yankees are formidable. I do love Canada, as the Chiron says. That is true. But I think the Blue Jays had a hell of an offseason. And from top to bottom, this is the class of the division.
Maybe I'm just a simple man. Some might call me a poor baseball analyst. Some might say that I don't know what I'm talking about. But I look at the Blue Jays roster and I see Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., and Alejandro Kirk, all 25 or younger, and they're already freaking awesome. And I just think that there is another level, and that shelf to that another level is a little bit lower, and they're able to step up on a little bit easier than some of the other teams. Maybe most of the teams in baseball, where all of a sudden you've got these guys who are already really good, and then you turn around and it's like I don't want to be hyperbolic, but it's like the 76 Reds or something. It's like, oh my gosh, all these guys are freaking awesome now. They're not just good, they're awesome. I don't know, but that is my bias toward youth.
Dude, you're talking about Alejandro Kirk catching, to have also Danny Jansen there. I mean, are you kidding? Like, it's so being able to get the kind of offense they're going to get from the catcher spot, partly because like they're not having to run Kirk out there like all that, right? Like they can mix him in the DH spot because you've got Jansen there, just like the Braves do with their setup and Murphy and Darno. I mean, that's my God, it's tremendous. Like to get such a big time offense from that spot is huge, especially when you're playing in a really difficult division like the Blue Jays are.